Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Spring 2019, and SANDBOX unfortunately were unable to translate a 30-minute mark lead into a victory. It was Griffin that were able to get the clutch Baron steal and utilize their pretty damn fed Galio to drive the victory home. Man on your screen played his little heart out. My goodness, really made Galio look like he was mid laner again. But LS, I know we might have been praising them a little bit too much. And by we, I think I could probably take most of that credit. Because honestly, this game was won off of 50-50.
Yeah.
And yes, it was Griffin. So yes, I mean, a lot of our minds probably went to, all right, well, I mean, that's just what they do to win. But this still was a victory off a 50-50 Baron.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of that has to do with the fact that the type of team composition that Griffin drafted was very defensive. It was meant to come online later on in the game, and Tarzan was having an extremely off early and mid-game.
Yeah, I think so too. We'll see whether that's going to be targeted here as we head into the draft. It's going to be blue side now for Griffin. It's the first red side victory in this matchup in 2019, which is actually quite interesting. As Griffin now back to their comfort zone in theory. Bans will come in. LeBlanc going to be taken off the board, and she wasn't actually looked at in the last series. Actually, no, she was first banned from Griffin last time as well. Dove not going to have access to that. As the Jace finally hits the bench. Not going to be the first pick available for Sword up there on the top side of the map.
Or the Chovy.
Yeah, true.
As Chovy has played it quite a bit in solo queue recently. Mid lane Jace. Thomas now being banned away.
They benched the Kench.
They benched the Kench. Absolutely unacceptable. Chovy not looking the most enthralled of his MVP performance.
Well, neither is LS, as the Aatrox is going to be banned. Against Summit, it does make sense, guys. So I think that's okay. Because Summit's good at the champion. Okay?
Yeah. I agree.
Oh, that was so hard for you, wasn't it? Oh my
God,
goodness.
I think I just... Oh, God.
That was a flex.
Lump in my seat.
Yeah. Damn, dude. You've been going to the gym. Managed to get that one out. All right, Kalista now going to be hovered here for Griffin. Kalista in the hands of Viper to empower Lehends. Sounds terrifying to me, but SANDBOX is going to have to deal with it. They still have Draven capabilities if they want to.
Lock it in.
Draven was dealt with last time. Like, oh, man.
That makes me really sad. Teemo not going to be the champion that is locked in here. Instead, it will be the Lucian. So this is 2 games in a row now. I think Ezreal has evaded.
Yeah, Ezreal not picked or banned so far. I mean, we could have a mid lane Ezreal. Some crazy stuff could happen, but not likely this game. SANDBOX could just take away the Braum if they want to. Have that powerful lane and have that level 1 power that Griffin put to such good use. But the Galio is still available, guys. And this is the really scary part, because what we've seen from Griffin is the Galio is now a true flex. It will be locked in here. And then SANDBOX have to ask the question of, where the heck is it going?
So OnFleek now with the Olaf. Griffin have access to any of Kalista. The Kalista pairing champions. So you got Galio, Alistar, and Thresh are normally the primary 3.
Galio is cream of the crop, though.
Yep. And Irelia.
Oh, wow. That feels like the Chovy pick. That being said, still certainly a flex, and I love this from Griffin. Everything's a flex apart from the Kalista, so SANDBOX have to respect so many different lanes right now. The jungle hasn't been picked, because you're not going to play jungle Galio or Irelia. Still a lot of questions for SANDBOX to answer.
Braum now picked up.
Yeah, I think that's a simple one. That's a simple one.
Now we move to the second ban phase, and with the flexes on the side right now of Griffin, it makes it very difficult to really focus down any of the lanes, and this is a great spot to be in right now if you're Griffin.
You can tidy up the jungle just a little bit with Lee and Aatrox off the board. I mean, 2 that Tarzan could have picked up if you banned something like the...
You know,
I don't know. There are still a lot of options, but Sejuani's going to be their first one. They could get rid of the Zac, I guess, in theory.
Evelyn is actually very good against the 3 champions that SANDBOX has right now.
Jarvan is also pretty damn good with the Galio on your team.
What's going on with the Fizz bans?
I don't know. It's a bit interesting. It might be considered the option into the Galio?
No, it's happened both times now on blue side. I don't know. I guess I have to check solo queue accounts or something, because I really don't know what is up with the Fizz bans, because Fizz is just missing so much damage. Evelynn banned away.
I like that.
Now, I will tell you of another jungler.
Oh, please. Tell me a story.
That is particularly good.
Do I know how this one ends?
We'll take a guess.
I think I've heard this one before, Dad. I think I've heard this bedtime story before. And, yeah, it's boring.
What?
It's a boring story. It's just a boring story.
You go to your room.
Well, Yorick's going to be banned away, and Ryze is being considered now. A flex pick on the side of SANDBOX, who are looking for both of their solo laners. I like this for a red side draft, keep things up in the air. Still flex things. The Aatrox Ryze combination not going to be available, as that has been banned away, and oh goodness me, it's happened again. Okay, Tarzan going to move back towards his blind Cocoonist in the Elise. It's a different composition, but one that could still work, right? I can understand the pick. Oh, I don't want to. Talking about it with you makes it really, really hard, okay?
You need Papa back on the desk.
Yeah, I know. Because he's much more forgiving when Urgot gets locked in on 9.4, you know? Okay, I like this. Will mean that we're flexing the Ryze towards the top side of the map, and the Yasuo comes out. The synergy on top side for the Yasuo is not there. There are no knockups to come in from the Ryze or the Olaf, so we'll be waiting for the Braum to land some ultimates in order to get things working.
This is definitely a knife fight here that SANDBOX has elected to draft. Pure aggression come out of them. And yet another team composition that wants to get ahead early, and it kind of has to. And very similar to the Azir, they do have some insurance policies available within it. But on the flip side for Griffin, the Irelia and the Kalista, if they get ahead against the SANDBOX team comp, there's probably no recovering.
Yeah, it's going to be a really tough one, but the Urgot is where the question marks start popping up. Urgot versus Ryze feels like it'll be a decent laning experience for the Ryze, who just wants to get to that Seraph's Embrace and wants to get those items completed. We'll see whether we actually get the weird new technology that I believe Doinby did. It was done in the LEC just last night. The Righteous Glory that Pawn, in fact, played on the Ryze here in the LCK. Might be one of the options. Seen a bit of the Ryze Leandries type style as well. Some definitely some new options to be picked up for the Ryze.
I think going into the game, SANDBOX is going to have to be on point. They can't make any mistakes in the early phase.
Nope. And Dove is going to have to hit his tornadoes, man. We're going to have to get those EQ flashes really on board, because ain't no one setting it up for him. He's playing volleyball, but all of his friends are in wheelchairs. It's just not going to work out. Well, here we are. Game number 2, Griffin versus SANDBOX.
A little bit of an erupted cheer for SANDBOX, trying to give them a second wind.
They do have a lot of fans that have come out here
too.
To LOL Park. Yeah, that is a cool Yasuo skin.
Second wind.
Haha, I see what you did there.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I see what you did there.
That Yasuo skin looks like cotton candy. Now I'm hungry.
All right, well, this could be a tough matchup for Dove, and it could be a tough game for him as well. We'll have to be landing those tornadoes to great effect. Joker as well can certainly help him out. And speaking of Joker, he's on the Braum, so you have to respect that level 1 invade possibility. There is a Ghost Porrow down here waiting in the brush. So the Winter's Bite not going to connect, and Griffin have all the information of the southern side entrance into the jungle.
Looks like they're just going to give it up. Not wanting to get too frisky. SANDBOX going for a late invade, it looks like.
Yeah, and Elise is going to be starting on the top side of the map anyway. So SANDBOX is going to be doing basically what Griffin did in game number 1. But Griffin are just not going to be here. Oh no, Lehends. Justice Punch is going to be skilled first, so he doesn't have to flash. The SANDBOX do start on the red buff of their opponent. Tarzan's in position though, so he's not going to suffer from this one too much. Can head to the Rift Scuttler and then also steal away the enemy red if he would like to. As our Sword getting pretty aggressive here out towards the top side of the map.
Getting a very good trade, actually, on Summit. And the Urgot, you know, it's just a pick. I love it so much. It's just such a powerful pick. Be able to get the Fear Beyond Death later on into the game. I can see the pain on your face right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like it because Sword did try to justify why he was picking it. He thought that there were runes that could make it work, and he did, if you remember. I mean, they won the game against SKT. They were down 5,000 gold when the Nexus died, but the Nexus died, and it wasn't theirs. So, can't really fault them.
Well, I'm curious to see what's going to end up happening in the lane. He is off to a relatively good start. And Dove here in the mid lane against Chovy. Just moving through the minions. Pretty cool animation sound.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, Lehends coming on over. Not going to be able to get that flash in or anything like that. As Chovy darting around this mid lane. And how does this matchup work? Is this going to be favored in one way or the other in any particular manner? If you remember that the Yasuo was picked into the Irelia, is this on purpose?
Yeah, the Yasuo can take over the matchup if he ends up getting ahead, but obviously Irelia is still Irelia. Yasuo is a little bit favored in lane manipulation setup, and then obviously the 2v2 here will be stronger for the Yasuo Olaf.
He got every single one of those. That's exactly what you want. It's Tarzan. Puts Cocoon on Scuttle Rivers. And now we've got priority for Griffin on the bottom side, but Dove has it in the mid lane. And that's a back from Chovy.
Yep. What Chovy did here is interesting. He recalls, ends up getting another item in a Fairy Charm, so his sustain inside of the lane is going to be extremely strong. And Dove is now locked into the lane with him with just a Doran's Blade and the red potion remaining. So Chovy probably going to be looking for some sort of a solo kill, or at least a solo kill setup.
And he comes back to lane with an item advantage, and now Griffin are going to be able to invade the SANDBOX jungle. So I do like the way that they've sort of played around where they have control. And OnFleek just milling about here for a little bit. Sweep is going to be utilized as they do clear out the vision, but a ward is still there and hasn't been swept from SANDBOX. Chovy moves over as he has priority in the mid lane, and there we go. Okay, Taunt will land onto Joker. The Unbreakable's there, stops a lot of damage. Tarzan gets exhausted, but First Blood goes to Chovy on the Irelia. They should even be able to get the steal away on this blue buff. They pull it into the brush, and OnFleek, nothing you can do.
Absolutely nothing is going SANDBOX's way here in game number 1. Dove holding the wave in front of his turret. That's not what he's going to want to be doing against the Irelia. Still, charge of Corrupting Potion remaining as one is being currently consumed.
Well, Dove actually playing very aggressively here against Chovy. Level advantage for the Yasuo as he did pick up that huge minion wave. So unable to capitalize on the First Blood just yet is the Irelia, and will be shoved underneath the turret for a moment.
And right now, Dove shoving in the minion wave, looking for a recall. A little surprised that Chovy seems like he's just going to allow it to take place.
Well, we'll see this one more time, as the Justice Punch was pretty good. That's a visual bug, guys. That taunt was not. That was a very dead Braum.
Braum not having the best experiences. I think one of them's SANDBOX fan, one of them's Griffin fan. So
yeah, there's a bit of salt there.
Yeah.
I could sense it. I could sense it.
Nice. Ninja Tabby's now completed for Chovy. Rejuve Bead as well in the mid lane. A little bit of choose your own adventure going on here.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? It's a confusing one. Is going to be building, obviously, towards the Tiamat. Has the Fairy Charm there just for some added mana sustain in the lane. But just looks a little bit curious. I'm reminded of Philosopher's Stone, but that was Mech Pendant and the Rejuve Bead.
I've heard stories of bank playing.
Oh, yeah. Heart of Gold is the one that you want. That was the best one. That was the best one.
Kage's lucky pick?
Yep. Cage's lucky pick, I like to call it.
Okay.
Shout out to Tenacious D.
I like that.
Yep. The old Pick of Destiny. Great movie if you haven't seen it. So Dove has the wave in a pretty awkward position here as Chovy is doing a decent job. Actually trying to dance around here, but doesn't manage to land the stun. OnFleek comes in, but Chovy is very healthy, and he's just able to wander around casually. This is what the extra boots 2 movement speed does for you. As Disdain is not going to arm there for sword, but you can see this Urgot's having a good time. In this matchup, top lane, it's only a tier, so not a lot of battle stats here for Summit, and Mercury's treads are done. For the Urgot,
OnFleek looking to invade the blue buff. Ryze does currently have the priority, and Dove is probably able to get it at the drop of a hat.
Yep, I like it. Taking what you can safely.
Oh, I think they want to just give it over to Ryze. Nope, never mind.
Okay. Summit says, I would have liked that OnFleek, and OnFleek says, no. Not going to get it. Wow, that was close, but not going to be able to get it. Lehends moving in at exactly the right time, so doesn't have the heroic entrance just yet, but could have just as punched his way forward. Okay, Vanguard's Edge lands onto OnFleek, but seems like a bit of a wasted ultimate there. Is Griffin now using the minion wave position in order to get some deep vision in the enemy jungle?
The red buff is actually still up, and now they know that, so perhaps Tarzan... Oh, no, it does not look to be on the menu for this spider.
Not too worried about it. Galio now moving towards the mid lane means the Kalista going to be in a little bit of trouble. As okay, Dove, once again, not going to get stunned. That wind wall just stunning. OnFleek comes on forward, and they get under the turret. Things are going to be fine, but that was beautiful denial from Dove.
Meanwhile, down here in bottom lane, Viper just doing Viper things, farming underneath the turret. Does have a very slight CS advantage here.
And it'll be larger when this minion wave goes, so nicely done in a 2v1.
Not too much chaos unfolding in the early stages of the game, and this isn't what you wanted to have happen when you're SANDBOX. This is also one of the very big reasons I deplore Olaf as a champion. As with nothing happening and without him getting ahead, he'll end up getting his first item, he'll have the Predator boots and whatnot, but it's not going to do anything in the mid stages. Just turn on his ultimate, arbitrarily run at someone, and then turn around.
We did see that yesterday. Very unfortunately, Olaf being complete passenger mode.
Well, actually, why I like Rek'Sai a lot more. I feel like in this regard, if what you're looking to accomplish is early game aggression, I think Rek'Sai just does everything Olaf does, but a little bit better.
Yep. Well, at this point, you can see Tarzan has actually found out where the Olaf is, and that timer you said is ticking down. OnFleek is heading towards that first item where Tarzan is going to be very, very strong. He's already got Sork Boots and a Skirmisher's Saber. This is a very, very scary Elise, as Ghost hit by the Volatile Spiderling. Doesn't do too much damage just yet before Runic Echoes comes forward. As Lehends charges up the taunt, but doesn't go for the flash. All summoner spells available on the side of Griffin, and the same can be said for SANDBOX. And the Mountain Drake, sleeping now in his den. No one actually going to touch it just yet, and there is control vision on it for SANDBOX. OnFleek finally will be able to get his own blue buff.
Interesting as well, Tarzan elected for the Sork Pen boots as his first item, completely foregoing any of the jungle item components. And so that would actually suggest that he would be looking to fight early on, but not really finding any ability to, as Chovy just trying his own Dove out of a couple of minions.
Yeah, he's going to do so pretty effectively, as you can see. So moves up to about an advantage of 6. As this wave crashes forward, it will mean that Dove will be able to answer it, but it won't be able to meet parity. He's pretty comfortable just standing here. Not going to be a lot of turret plates falling, I don't think, here in the mid lane. Both of these mid laners, although melee, pretty good at clearing out a minion wave very, very quickly and without too much trouble. SANDBOX, though, are going to move their bottom lane towards mid. Interesting movement. Looks like Shelly is going to be on the menu, as Griffin have passively moved to close to 1,000 gold lead. After that first blood did go down.
Right now, Griffin's team composition, it's still just waiting to rack up more items. It doesn't want to fight anytime soon, and this is the windows where SANDBOX should have been the ones able to secure advantage. You look at what's going on down here in bottom lane. The Kalista ahead 29 CS, zoning Ghost actually
plates, man.
Off a couple of CS. 2 plates now going over to the Kalista.
Half a kill worth of gold just from the tower. Already in the back pocket of Viper. Some scary stuff. That gold lead is only going to expand after that point. No Blade of the Ruin King just yet for either of these 80 carries, and the items are very similar. Of course, Berserker's Greaves, much higher value on Viper, which is why he rushed them. It's what we see from Kalista's everywhere. It almost has the recurve bow portion of the Blade of the Ruin King done, and then it's only the 700 gold for the recipe to complete. Dove comes on over here, and you can sort of see what SANDBOX want to do based on their vision. A lot of vision around Shelly. There's, okay, not going to land the stun just yet. There's the flawless duet. Hasn't actually been all that flawless because it's so windy in the mid lane.
Definitely.
Look at that.
Gonna need a weather forecast in the current lane here, but so far, again, SANDBOX very content to just take a very slow and methodical early game into mid-transition. Chovy just dancing around mid lane, CSing the wave, gotta go and get his blue buff from Tarzan, who's been very fortunate enough to leash it. Tarzan is down in levels right now. Not entirely sure how much, as I have not seen Olaf's XP bar, but OnFleek is already at 2 jungle camps, whereas Tarzan's still pathing over to his red buff and then his Krugs.
Yeah, exactly. So red buff will go down in favor of the Elise, but you're right, he hasn't really been able to farm up too effectively. Talking about his lanes, though, I mean, Summit, he's doing a great job top side of the map, but the Urgot is keeping up pretty nicely, and bottom lane and mid lane have been brilliant here for Griffin so far. It's pretty comfortable for them. Means that this Mountain Drake should belong to them if they want it. Summit's able to take some turret plates on the top side. OnFleek should be able to get Shelly if they want to. If they want to go for some sort of trade, it should be one of the options here. The Sword hasn't taken any plates himself, and the Urgot is falling behind ever so slightly.
That's a Ryze that is getting reasonably fed. Curious to see if we will have a 15 or 16 minute Seraph's Embrace. I did see that actually yesterday while watching another region. I was very impressed with that.
Oh yeah.
We'll see when the team fight trigger will eventually be pulled, probably around the Mountain Drake. Very surprised that we haven't seen some solo attempts from either jungler here in this game. But again, Griffin, they're not the ones with an obligation to do anything inside of this game. The Irelia and the Kalista in particular against the SANDBOX team composition are just going to be monstrous later on in the game. And obviously the Fear Beyond Death, because the SANDBOX team comp, it wants to be very close quarters with one another and the opponents.
Oh, threads the needle on the Cocoon as Summit is going to be able to get the passive shield. OnFleek here in time as Chovy turns up. Tarzan gets his way out. Vanguard's edge is there. But it's a great flash to come in from OnFleek. They are going to even this one up as Summit. Okay, OnFleek is able to get out of there, and Chovy moves back to Summit. Some very rare mistakes being made by Griffin this game.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic for Chovy actually to allow OnFleek to get away right there at the very end. And Tarzan a little bit overeager for trying to make that kill happen. It was definitely not something that they needed to force by any means.
Oh, that was so nice from Viper. Dodges out of the way. Fate's Call is going to come in here, but not a lot of damage. Onto SANDBOX, a lot of buttons being pressed, but not a lot of results here on either side. This is going to be Fate's Call in trade for the Glacial Fissure.
Back to a mini LOL state.
Yeah.
You excited?
Yeah, I love it.
I'm excited.
I'm a big fan.
Right.
Black Cleaver is completed for Sword, however. He went back, he grabbed himself the heal, does have teleport to get himself back into this lane. So now an opportunity to get some turret damage, but no plates as it's 15.5 minutes into this game. OnFleek, he gets a Rift Scuttler. Will Blasko on his way over here. Griffin, no reason to head up. They are going to group. Minion wave is going to be in advantage and means that SANDBOX unable to fully press that advantage. I think if Joker had his ultimate, maybe that would have been an opportunity, but not going to happen. OnFleek just pathing around here, trying to get himself an advantage, trying to grab some relevance on the Olaf, and certainly does have it after that flash play on the top side of the map. That got Summit a kill, and that got himself one also.
And again, Tarzan, very uncharacteristic gameplay here in both of the games. He's looking for these very aggressive plays, foregoing farming altogether. He's found himself down 2.5 levels right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. That top lane play really bit them in the bud. Chovy clears out the minion wave, and now we'll go and help Tarzan. So Shelly should be able to get some work done as far as eliminating structures, but no plates to come from it. No extra money. And I think the Mountain Drake feels like a more impactful choice from SANDBOX. They have claimed the gold advantage after that one. Just shows that SANDBOX aren't out of it yet. Game 2 is where they were able to pick up their win against Griffin in the first round robin. We'll see whether it's going to be where they pick up their victory in the second one also. Almost a Trinity Force though for Chovy, and I think that's when they're going to start trying to fight around this mid laner.
See, the Cocoon comes in here. Ultimate not cast by Sword at all. Maybe they could have gone for some sort of a flip onto Summit, but then right here at the very end, this is where it was so weird. Chovy allows him to get away.
Didn't manage to kill him.
Yeah. Flash available though.
얘도 잡았어요 형. 잠깐만 기다려봐. 난 위험해. 아 제발 하는 거 없어. 야너 빼. 난 살았어. 빼봐.
Yeah.
And SANDBOX very relieved with the events that just transpired right there.
Also able to grab this turret on the top side of the map. That'll be first turret gold going over to Ghost. And he's behind. Tarzan's going to join in as Viper takes it down on the bottom side of the map as well. So mirrored map state, but the extra 100 going to be going into the back pocket of SANDBOX. This map,
now.
It is very, very close. LS, everything is pretty tied up. I think the jungle is where the massive difference is going to be.
Yeah, that's where the discrepancy is. But Kalista does have a lot more gold than the Lucian. Has a couple of plates inside of her, as well as nice CS advantage. Also should be noted that Yasuo's build is much more defensive than it is offensive. It's not the static shiv.
Yeah, he's going to go for the Phantom Dancer, meaning that we're not going to see the Sterix Gauge, which is so incredibly good. Often, the reason why we see the static shiv, going back to that item, Phantom Dancer is still very good, right? You auto-attack the champion, you still get that ghost effect to get through them. However, the Lifeline passive is still going to be there, which is why Sterix is going to be the opportune choice most of the time. But Dove, he wants to get to that 2-item spike as fast as possible with the Infinity Edge build. You may as well have that added defensiveness. I like it. I'm okay with it.
Not bad. Sword here, down in bottom lane, getting dealt a fair bit of damage here by the Ryze.
Yeah, it has to
barely
be
has any magic resist. Oh man.
Whoa. Okay, he's going to use his heal. He's going to get out of the Rune Prison. Lehends, he wants to challenge on the Summit here. Heroic entrance, not going to be utilized there as okay, flashes forward. They do manage to stop the Realm Warp. Summit gets himself a shield, does have the Seraph's Embrace, but he's in the grinder. That is a very dead Ryze, and that is Sword getting himself a kill and possibly turning this game around.
Yeah, and that is a very big kill relief, very big pressure relief off of the kill down there in bottom lane, as now the Urgot going to be able to get himself a couple of waves of his own.
And now we're going to have man advantage here in this mid lane. No teleport available from Sword. Summit can make his way forward. Lehends gets himself under his outer turret. Ultimate is going to land there. Fate's Call means the Dove just denied the ult, and that's an easy pickup for Viper, but honestly a mistake from SANDBOX. Sword finally waddles his way in, and Joker slowed down, but not taken down, as the flash had to be used.
Oh, and here comes Chovy.
Yeah, teleports come in from Summit just to try and get enough people here, but Shelly's going to join the party. It's still a person advantage in this mid lane.
Shelly only going to be able to get one turret, so it's not the end of the world, but a very big recent turn of events in the last 2 minutes here for Griffin. They managed to pick themselves up 2 kills and a turret as well. It starts here. Summit trying to cast the Realm Warp, gets locked up by Lehends. Ultimate place down. Sword flashing over the side of Summit. Not sure if it was entirely necessary, but wanted to guarantee that he could bring the kill down for sure.
Also looked cool.
Yeah, did look cool.
Yeah,
Can't
and
argue
look,
with that.
You understand why they go for the Galio. He just used his flash on the bottom side of the map.
Yep.
But he's with a Kalista. That is 100% just a mistake, because Fate's Call is always going to be there.
We get the flash out of Joker there as well at the very end. Now, meanwhile, as we come back to live, Summit managing to pick up a turret down here. The gold is even.
Yeah.
Right now.
This game is extraordinarily close. Close to 22 minutes in. Baron has spawned. None of the teams going to be going over there. Griffin, if they are able to get control of the pit, will be able to have a lot of secure onto that Baron. It's not going to be an opportunity, really, for OnFleek to exert his dominance as far as the Smite fight is concerned, because a Rend is going to be there, and it's not quite as good as it used to be, but it's still very, very good. And look at this. I mean, you look at this gold graph and you're like, wow, it's going up and down, but it's only 1,000 gold, plus or minus basically 1.
Yep. 1,358 to be exact.
Yes, sorry.
Right.
I was rounding. I'm a rounder.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Griffin now going to be able to pick up themselves the Clown Drake. It will force another Mountain Drake to end up spawning, so that should actually be a pretty high priority if the game is allowed to get to that point without some chaotic fight unfolding. Both of these teams have insane Baron potential. Ryze, basically immune against the Baron with all of his shields. You have the Yasuo Wind Wall as well.
Yep.
And Lucian, no slouch at raising it, or not raising it, but killing it.
Spiderling's also pretty good at tanking up the old Baron also, so on the Griffin side, certainly not wanting when it comes to Baron damage, and Kalista needs no introduction when it comes to killing stuff. So you're exactly right. I think that this fight is going to be around the Baron, and it's all about who can get into the pit and get the most work done.
Oh man. Ghost?
Yeah, he's going to face Check Sword. The disdain is going to be very easy. Takes a lot of damage. Good ultimate defensively, but Viper should be able to use that Marshal Post to get himself there. Realm Warp comes down, but Joker is going to die. Cocoon not going to land. Sword tanking a lot of damage as Dove is going to be fighting with Chovy on the top side. The flash does come in, but Chovy's just so tanky. Does eventually have to use the flash to get himself out of the way as Corrosive Charge comes in. The flow was built up, but it ain't built up enough. And SANDBOX going to lose on multiple fronts.
And SANDBOX right now are just getting picked slowly apart, ever so slightly, by Griffin. These kills are not ones that they want to be giving away.
But it's not blowing the game open, right? It's not creating a gigantic gap. It's 600 gold.
Yeah.
Even after 2 people fall down, because Griffin, the waves aren't in positions where they can truly capitalize, or the champions just aren't there. As OnFleek, he's just out of position, guys. Doesn't have Ragnarok. Blade Surge going to come in. Is it all a cunning ruse, though, as Ghost going to get on top, wants to try and get the flash forward. It's going to be Summit that gets on top. There's the Fate's Call. The Ryze should die here. Fantastic taunt from Lehends. And once again, Griffin giveth, Griffin taketh away.
And Ghost manages to live there as well as OnFleek, but
this
Griffin
is aggressive. Okay, there's not going to be OnFleek for a little while. He's making his way back in. Ghost is on vision and doesn't have a lot of health. There's the repel. Gets over to the blast cone just to get rid of it. Viper, look at all of the sticks in this Baron. Remember, this is not a true 50-50 because he's been hitting it with his autos for so incredibly long.
Tarzan has more HP than what appears because he has Smite.
All right, we're going for the turn. Oh my god, Dove just explodes. We do have the Olaf on the backside of this fight, but he's just going to go down. He's more food for this Kalista. She's so strong at her current level in this meta, and Viper is showing that he can pilot her to such beautiful effect. We've all seen what he's been practicing in solo queue. We didn't know what he could get done on the stage, and damn, does it look good. Joker now in the back of this pit does not have the unsealed spellbook, so he was just going for a cheeky steal. Not enough. Griffin will grab a 25-minute Baron.
Yeah, once again, the game gets blown wide open after what appeared to be relatively even gameplay throughout. Right here, you can see Olaf doing Olaf things. He comes in. Chovy's ultimate actually gets wind-walled, so it looked like it was an okay pickup for SANDBOX. Dove having to flash away right there, ended up missing the last tornado. Chovy able to get away, Sword coming in to clean up that kill, and this was just after killing Joker on the right-hand side, but then there was this follow-up. It looks like OnFleek was just going to go down immediately. Chovy goes on to OnFleek, ends up getting slowed, and then doesn't get another auto attack. Off onto OnFleek, and so things looked like they were all going to be fine, but then SANDBOX oversend a little bit too much. Ryze gets straightened up really quick, and then Griffin start the Baron.
I'm actually quite perplexed as to why Ghost didn't use the culling there as he was running away. But I guess we won't find out. Viper has gone for the I want to win the game right now build, as he has the QSS and a GA in his back pocket. Griffin don't want this game to last very long at all. 26.5 minutes, gold lead, finally hitting a relevant point. 4,000 is now on the line. Okay, Lehends gets another taunt. Damn, they're so good at playing around Galio as Sword dives on forward. Doesn't find the knockback with the disdain as Chovy just waiting in the wings. looking for his opportunity. Flawless Duet not going to land. Fate's Call just to rout Joker. You can see that was just a positioning ultimate. Viper basically throwing him over there so Joker had nowhere to go. But he's taking them on a merry chase. Everyone dodges the Glacial Fissure, but it buys him even more time. Baron, you can see, just ticking down second after second, and this is not sieging time.
Oh, ends up actually getting...
Yeah, Vanguard's Edge comes in just to try and get that kill. Defiant Dance is going to be there. Chovy picks up the kill, but at what cost, everyone?
A lot of Baron duration ended up getting used right there. Summit and OnFleek now are going to pick themselves up the second Mountain Drake. One of the problems with the second Mountain Drake, though, is that if you guys are behind, if you're on the defensive, it doesn't really do anything. They end up just being worthless stats.
Denying it from Griffin is still a big deal, though.
That is true. And so for right now, they won't come online until later. If SANDBOX can manage to regain footing in this game, no Joker right now. Full-on retreat in the mid lane. This is, at least is going to be the mid inhibitor going down. Ghost canceled his recall.
Yeah, well, they don't have inner turrets.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's, I guess they're thinking right now. They're thinking that maybe we can trade. But inhibitor falling. Griffin not going to have the Baron after 40 seconds have elapsed. And look at this. Summit actually gets over there and clears out the minion wave, so it's reset time for Griffin. Actually a smart cancel there from Ghost to get him another minion wave or two.
Managed to crash the wave as well. Sword making his way up there right now. And with no neutral objective on the right-hand side of the map, wouldn't just be surprised to see everyone go into top lane now. Look to raise the top tier 2 turret and then maybe press on to the top inhibitor. Even though it's not as valuable as the bottom inhibitor. Still something they could aim to capture right now. 13 seconds remaining on the Baron, so that is all but gone.
Yep. Basically was just an empowered recall towards the end there, but damage done in the mid lane. They do manage to take down that mid inhibitor. And when do we start talking about the fact that super minions move minion waves towards the person with a dead inhibitor more, and you get more money based on the farm? Is that a worthwhile conversation at this point?
That actually is. We don't actually see teams do the proper thing, which is permanently freezing with the super minions yet. League isn't quite there.
We're not quite there?
We're not quite there yet.
Haven't had our Moscow 5 moment.
Been talking about
finally we talk about lane priority.
Couple of years. Yep. See, here we go. We're gonna meet the super minion wave right in front of the mid tier 1 turret. We're gonna kill that. Wouldn't want to deny Griffin, 200, 300 gold worth of minions and XP. So
cool.
God forbid that. Now someone's gonna get to pick that up here in mid lane, or it's just gonna go to the super minions, but not the end of the world. But that's definitely something that I'm really glad that you bring it up, because pro teams around the world are not doing it yet. And utilizing these freezes with super minions. And there's really not a reason not to.
Yeah, exactly. You may as well take the free money and deny the money where you can. I mean, that's what this game is all about. It's about buying the items, killing the champions. Right now, Griffin, though, they're thinking about the killing of champions part as they are trying to take down this inner turret. Tarzan is going to go golden, but that is actually going to be a big price to pay. Teleport comes in right underneath this turret as Lehends, taking so much damage from Summit. Gets himself out as the Fate's Call is going to be used. Don't know whether Viper needed to, but that is going to guarantee that the Gargoyle survives.
Now look at this wave in mid. You can just freeze and deny the entire wave from ever going back to the opponent. Is there a Baron on the map? No. Is there an Elder on the map? No. Why are you pushing it? What are you doing?
Not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Not quite sure either.
Oh, we'll see whether we get a clue further down the line.
It's going to be 2 cannons potentially. No, that one's going to end up dying. But definitely the next cannon wave will be picked up now by the Kalista. And it's a wave and remnants of a wave that you could have just denied from Griffin. And especially these late game stages trying to get last item completions before major objectives, why do you hand over free gold and free XP?
It's a good point. Especially when SANDBOX are certainly backs against the wall. Gold lead has actually snuck back a little bit for SANDBOX. That might have a lot to do with the fact that these super minions have been tearing apart the red dots that you can see in the mini-map. Dove down here, though, will push this one forward yet again. Some respite being given as far as where the minion waves are on the map for SANDBOX. So they get themselves a reset if you want. You can see 3 control wards in the pockets of Griffin and 4. Over on the side of SANDBOX as we start the Baron dance yet again. 31 minutes into this game. It's already in the hands of Griffin, but 4,000 gold is not a lead that you can really hang your hat on.
Well, I do think that the team composition for Griffin is stronger in a prolonged fight. It's so difficult to hold down the Kalista unless the Ryze is able to get a Rune Prison on her, which is going to be near impossible. So they have the problem of how do you actually beat Griffin in a straight-up 5v5, because the Urgot, Irelia, and Kalista is just so difficult for the SANDBOX team composition to really handle outside of a dream setup. So they're still going to have their work cut out for them. If they can manage to win a sloppy fight with even 2 or 3 members remaining, those double mountains are going to come online and easily result in a Baron cap.
Well, right now you've got Griffin engaging on the top side. Sword's going to be a long way away from this fight. There's now Chovy, denying so much with the Defiant Dance. His heroic entrance gets Lehends back towards his team. Viper now, he's picked up the gargoyle, but Joker uses to stand behind me. The flash forward, a little bit of a disconnect here from Griffin, but Summit has to go golden. Now in the back line, more golden members of Griffin. His Ghost is trying to flash. Tarzan gets on top of him. No damage from the Lucian in the back line, and that means that the Kalista is able to pop off. Griffin draw first blood in the fight as now SANDBOX, they're routed. Joker is so low. Summit as well, he does have a lot of damage and a lot of shielding, and that is an Unbreakable that denied a lot of damage there from Lehends.
And it looks like Tarzan and Lehends just want to stop the ability.
Well, I mean, this might just be game, as Griffin are pushing with 3 members towards this base. Ghost does make it back, but he's very squishy. There's the flawless duet, just holding onto it, and Ghost just cannot move towards these Nexus turrets.
Summit
it is going to be a bare Nexus right now. Summit is so incredibly close. The teleport onto this control waters. Tarzan unable to get it, and the Nexus will go down. Fear beyond death, even arms from Sword, and Griffin will get themselves the 2-0, but this one looked different from both the SKT series and every other 2-0 that Griffin have got so far this season.
Yeah, and this is looking a much closer week for Griffin games. They're not as one-sided as what we would expect. In SANDBOX, they had a few moments of brilliance in this game. I actually think Summit was doing phenomenal this game.
Yeah.
Obviously had an unfortunate death down there in the bottom lane to sort it in Lehends, but I think that he did quite well on the Ryze. And I think SANDBOX can feel satisfied knowing that maybe any other team in LCK right now, outside of maybe SKT or Griffin, probably would have succumbed to some of the positions that SANDBOX found themselves in.
And also succumb to the tilt, right? I mean, losing a game based on a 50-50 Baron steal where you had control of the Baron pit is something that makes a lot of teams feel absolutely terrible. And often the results that we see in best of threes that end game 1 in a situation like that is just a landslide. And this was not a landslide victory for Griffin. It was a shorter game. Certainly they did press their advantage very, very well at the end of that last team fight, but that was an extended one. It was one that Griffin had to sort of masterfully tear apart in order to get themselves into the right position, in order to capitalize on the positioning that they found SANDBOX in. So a very different series to what we've seen in the past, and I just really like seeing closer, more competitive games that you can actually still congratulate the losing team in macro decisions around the map, and even micro decisions that they make in some of these exchanges.
Who do you give the MVP to, Atlas?
That is a good question. Maybe Viper?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's either Viper or Lehends.
Yeah.
Can't give it to Sword. Can't give it to Tarzan.
Could you give it to Chovy? I guess probably not.
No, I don't
It
think
is a
so.
toughie. I think it's a toughie.
He had too many close calls, too many flounders this game.
Yeah.
So I definitely do think that Viper or Lehends are the 2 primary candidates.
Yeah, I think Viper's probably got it.
Yeah.
My personal opinion. I'd also rather hear him in an interview as well. So I'd be excited because I just like picking at picking at Viper's brain. The guy is extraordinarily smart. So it would be good to see what Mina has to ask him. Because it's just fun. I mean, the brains of Griffin players are just different from the other teams. Here in the LCK, they just think about the game differently. They think about the drafts differently. We saw that game 1 draft. That was a draft to make LS cry, but it was a draft that won the game.
I'm dying on the inside.
It is just it was a curious series.
I'm feared beyond death right now. That is what's going on here.
I feel like the result was exactly what we were expecting. However, the way we got to the result was a journey I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I thought that Griffin would be a lot more explosive inside of the games, not as...
Yeah, I thought they were going to come back and get revenge, right?
Yeah.
They got sort of the wind knocked out of them a little bit by SKT, and then they managed to claw themselves a victory at the end with all of those clutch plays that they were able to make. The decision-making was what got them over the line in the end with a 5,000 gold lead as the Nexus actually fell down. That's just insane that they were able to cope with it. And now I was thinking, CB Max goes back, gets a little bit mad at his places. That was too close. This time you smash them. But that's obviously not what the feedback was, because the way they played this game wasn't fast and loose. We can see it right here. I mean, this certainly was. This was a capitalization on a little bit of a misdemeanor in priority from SANDBOX.
Actually, a really good start inside of this game, but this is where one of the first major blunders happened. Trying to dive summon. OnFleek was here. Chovy was here as well. But then everything was just a little sloppy.
It was this. Look at the Define Dance. Just the tip. Not enough. Last tick of the Ignite. Didn't quite get there.
Irelia nerfs. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
Yeah,
Tragedy.
Her W copped it so much on the damage side. So yeah, normally the calculation would have worked. As yep, that is a special delivery to the grinder. An easy one, but I mean, Lehends down there to help out. You mentioned the fact that Summit did have a decent game. This was a whoopsie. As Fate's Call, it's not something that you want to use your last breath on as far as the targets. And this was the second blunder, really, for SANDBOX to put them closer to a loss here in this game.
And then there was obviously the follow-up Baron. Not quite sure what OnFleek was doing right here, but did manage to bait in Chovy. And then they ended up picking up the kill onto him, but then Ghost and Summit said that they wanted a little bit more. They bit off a little bit more than they could chew.
Yeah, and also, I mean, Ghost had absolutely no way back into that fight, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a couple of free kills, and then instantly, Griffin are going to make the clear call. They want to go for the Baron. They get lots of sticks into it. They're able to take down Doug before he's able to get any buttons pressed at all.
I love Olaf.
It was the most anemic Yasuo, but it's once again one of those examples of a lane for a Yasuo that you just can't gank, right? Because there's no knock-up synergy with anyone else. So it's very telegraphed with where that one is going to happen. It was a fun game. I actually really enjoyed it. Griffin, of course, feeling in the driver's seat throughout the majority, not like in game number one. However, it wasn't just a stomp. It wasn't just a rollover, and Griffin had to work for this. And it was just some really nice team fighting. The way that they fight on multiple different fronts and do so well is what really separates them.
Yeah, their team fighting. So far, this split has only arguably been matched by SK Telecom.
Yeah, I think
SKT
so.
is actually the only team that has sort of deconstructed them in some team fights as well, I would say.
And they were also very extended
Yeah.
on multiple different fronts. You know, it's coordination in separation for Griffin in a lot of ways, right? They're able to allocate the right resources to the right targets no matter where they are in the moment in time, right? So when someone runs away up here, someone runs away down there, they manage to make it work. And we saw that in that game. And you saw also that all of the damage was very even on the side of Griffin. In fact, it was higher on the side of SANDBOX, and that sort of shows you that's exactly why SANDBOX are our team that does the most damage per minute. Griffin aren't. I mean, they're at 5th or something like that. It's not a stat that they're all that proud of.
They're very selective with their fights.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I mean, the damage that kills your opponent is the damage that matters. It's not about just, landing poke. They also don't play poke compositions because they're pretty good at the old team fights. Just a great one to see, guys. And the MVP interview will be right around the corner, but we need to find out who that MVP is. I reckon it's Viper. That's my last guess.
I'm
locking
Viper.
it in. Sword's gonna get it.
What?
The Urgot gets the MVP.
Reddit, here
All
I come.
Oh my goodness. Look, okay. We mentioned the fact that this play was good. This play was good. Yep. He had some good flanks. Like, his positioning was good.
Show me the next one. Here we go. Hold on. Let's take a look here.
Oh, that was a cute one.
Okay, that is quite a good flash knock-up right there.
Yeah, okay.
Also managing to zone Ghost off from the fight. All right. Okay.
I feel like you're biased. You're anti-Urgot biased. That's what it is. I'm
never.
calling you out right here.
What? Urgot's a great champion. It's fantastic.
All right, guys. We are going to have an MVP interview, so thankfully I've been saved from this interaction. So let's throw it over to Jason for some translation.
정말 이제는 이겼다는 말이 어색하지 않을 정도로
Once again, we're going to be joined by Griffin players for the MVP interview. It's Chovy and Sword.
안녕하세요.
Nice to see you guys.
네, 지난번 SKT전 오늘
It
샌드박스전
was SK Telecom and today it was SANDBOX. It was a tough schedule. How was it?
그냥 평소처럼 한 것 같아요.
I mean, I think we just did as we
네,
do usually.
잘해내셨고요.
It wasn't really that tough.
하루밖에 못 쉬셨어요. 오늘 오면서 또 정말 강팀을
Sword,
만났기
you only
때문에
had
부담감도
one day
있으셨을
off,
거예요.
and it could have been a bit of a pressure facing up against the second place team. How was it?
저희만 잘하잖아.
There wasn't big pressure. We were just solely
네,
focusing
그리핀이,
on our own
저희
plays.
정지적 PD 시점이라고 또 콜 장면 나오는 것도 있는데
Griffin, you know, did you see the
정말
mic check of
침착하게
the previous
잘
episodes
해내시더라고요.
versus SK Telecom?
정말 대단했습니다.
I think you guys were doing an awesome job over there.
자, 1세트
And
초비
speaking
선수
of
오늘
today's
1세트
game,
MVP 가져가면서
You picked up MVP in the first
포인트에
set, so
올랐습니다.
you tied
3점
up with
달성했고요.
depth,
그
reaching up to
주인공이
the
바로
1,000 points.
갈리오였습니다. 갈리오를 1픽으로 가져가는 상황이
So
사실
you guys
리산드라도 열려
first picked
있었거든요.
Galio, even though Lissandra was
갈리오를
open.
가져가는
Why was that?
사실 원래
To be honest,
갈리오가
I think
미드를
Galio
썼을 때 너프를
in mid
먹긴
lane,
했는데
I mean, even though it had
라인전 주도권
several
안 밀릴
nerfs,
자신이 있어서
I have
일단
confidence to have
잡고
laning priority.
선픽 하나 나왔으니까 뱀픽 이득 볼 수 있게 그렇게
So
설계한
we
것
had a first pick
네,
card
정말
available,
좋은
so that
판단이었습니다.
kind of led us
갈리오
an easier
잡으면서
pick and
탑
ban in the
바텀
upcoming
다
ban phase, so
봐주시는
that's why we
모습이었어요.
first picked it.
특히 와 탑갱의
Galio
이제
was
지원을
everywhere.
가실 때
In the map,
블루 쪽
you were
먹는
supporting
척
your
하면서
players
그
all the
아저씨가
time.
피해서
You were
올라가는
always
장면
in the
기억나시나요?
backup, so
기억이 안 나요.
do you remember that play?
야,
I don't
본능적인
remember.
플레이였군요. 네, 그런 장면이 있었는데요. 다들 어떻게 이런 생각을 할 수 있는지 정말
We were really
궁금해서
amazed
여쭤보고
by how you were so
싶었는데
able to
빙에서
make up those
나오는
plays, but I guess you don't really remember.
아마
I mean, if I see a replay, I might remember, but
네,
maybe
감으로
I just did
준비를
as
하셨다고
I
했습니다.
was,
자, 갈리오
as my
상대로
feelings told me to do. I'm not
정말,
really sure because I don't
상대가 쉽지
remember.
않았는데 라인전은 어떻게 풀어가실 생각이었어요? 사실
And how
미드
was your laning
1차가 먼저
phase with
밀리기도
Galio?
했거든요.
Actually,
사실
Dove
저는
pushed you out of lane and took the first
되게
mid lane turret.
풀어 나가고 있었고
I mean, I was
이제
doing fairly
전령을
well
먹혀서
during the laning phase, but
전령을 나가지
SANDBOX
못했는데
took the
상대가
Herald,
전령 미드에 깔아서
and
그냥
they
미드
used it in the
일차
mid lane,
내주는
so I just
쪽으로 판단해서
decided to let them take the turret.
일차 냈던 것 같아요.
네, 하지만 그런 상황에서도 정말 침착하게 계속 경기를
I guess
잘
you
풀어가셨습니다.
were able to stay calm
자,
and
저희 1세트
play out the game.
하이라이트였죠. 바론 장면 한번
We
보겠습니다.
prepared this highlight over here. This is the
네, 먼저
Baron
이렇게
team
밑에서 제이스를
fight.
괴롭히는 장면이 있었어요. 사실 이때 키를 냈으면
First, you were
스포츠가
chasing
별로
Summit
쉽지
with sword.
않았거든요. 상황이 어땠나요?
What was going over there?
제가 탑라인 밀면서 어차피 탑 쳐봤자
I was pushing top lane at first, but
잘라내겠다.
I thought that's not really worth it, so I just wanted to catch out Summit over there, but we weren't able to do that, so I just
스킬로 잡아냈단
wanted to
말이에요.
join my teammates at the Baron's pit.
옆에 솔방울도 있고 또 궁도 있었는데 풀로 진입해서
And Tarzan flashed in the Baron's pit, even though there was a...
배경 아시나요?
He can actually just jump in.
할 줄은 상상도 못했고요. 그냥 타잔 선수
I didn't really
기량에
expect
그냥
that.
감탄할 뿐입니다. 지금.
I'm just amazed at how Tarzan is good
네,
right
타자
now.
선수의 판단으로 순간적인 판단으로 진입했고 이렇게 저렇게 바론을 잡아냈습니다. 자 이렇게 1세트 깔끔하게
So,
가져갔고요.
game one was a bit of a clean and
소드
perfect
선수의
game.
우르고사랑
In game
얘기
two,
안 해볼 수가
We,
없습니다.
once again, we have to mention
사실
your love of
우르고시
Urgot.
먹고 좀 아닌가
Urgot
싶은
had
픽인데도 불구하고
consecutive
그리핀의
nerfs,
우르고시
but
인정하는
Griffin
분위기예요.
still
그 순간에
sticks
이제
to
소드 선수가
playing
있으신데
Urgot in
우르고
top
선택
lane.
이유. 뭘까요?
우르것이 예전부터 엄청 좋고 무난한
Urgot is a
픽이었잖아요.
very
근데 이번에 너프를 통해서
it was
초반에 엄청
previously an OP
힘들었어요.
champion,
근데
but
이제
after that nerf,
룬하고
it's really hard
플레이
to kind of
방식에서
stay in
초반만
lane in the
무난히
early
버틴다면
games. But
어떻게든 조합적인
if you
측면에서
pick
살릴 수 있을 거라고
nice
생각하고
rune and
우르것을
some
기용한
tanky
거죠.
runes, I
네,
think it's still a
우르고시
viable pick.
탑에서 라이즈 상대로 뭐 잘 상대하면 나쁘진 않지만 그래도
So,
쉽지 않단
versus
말이에요.
Ryze matchup, it's not really that easy, right? What was your plan?
라인전에서 사실 압박감을 주고
During the laning
싶었는데
phase, I
사실
wanted to have
뜻대로
laning
되진
priority and put some
아까
pressure, but
탑
it
다이브
was not
상황에서만
easy.
잘 풀렸어도 아마
If it
좋은-
had a bit of
더
more
좋은
cleaner
상황이
turret
나왔을
dive,
텐데
it could have been
그것만 좀
easier,
좀
but
아쉬운 부분도
I think
있다고
there was a
말씀을
bit of a sloppy
해주셨어요.
moment.
아까 그리핀이 함께 바론을 치던 모습에서 샌드박스가 오자 쿨하게 바론 포기하고
Well, you guys were
먼저
trying
잡아내는
Baron,
장면이
but
있었어요.
SANDBOX
그때 오더는 누군지
was
기억나시나요?
chasing you guys in the Baron's
그때
peak, then you guys
상대가
just
칠로
backed
오다가
up and
단체로
re-engaged
싸움
over
잡을
there.
보자.
Whose
그래서
order was that?
그 콜에 맞춰서 야스오로 포커싱을 해줬던 것 같아요.
Well, we all
야,
said that we
좀
should rather
아까웠거든요.
open
바로
team fight over
찔렀던
there,
게.
so I
괜찮으셨어요?
just trying to open team fight
이기면
on
어차피 바로
Yasuo.
저희 거니까 딱히 아깝지는 않았어요.
It was
네,
okay
결과적으로
because if
그렇게 다
we win the
잡아내고
team
바론을
fight, we're
좀
gonna
더
take
편하게
the
칠
Baron
수 있는
anyway,
장면이
so it was okay.
만들어졌습니다. 자 그리고 마지막 끝내는 장면 와 여기서 더
And
들어가
how you
이런
guys
생각을 팬분들도
closed out the
하셨을 것
game.
같습니다.
It was really
네, 그 장면
amazing.
함께
So
만나보겠습니다.
let's go through this highlight together.
네 이렇게 상대를 잡아내는 장면들이
So you are picking up
나오고요.
several kills.
네, 사실 여기서 경기가
But at
끝나는
first,
것까지 이어질
we
거라고
did not
생각을
expect that the
못했거든요.
game would end here.
여기서 사실 저희는 여기서 끝날 각을 다 같이 봤었던 것 같아요.
I think we
이렇게
already
밀당하다 보면
saw this
상대도
happening,
빼기는
and
애매하고
we knew that we were able to close the game out because
밀당에서
we won the
엄청
team fight really well,
많이 이득 보는 구도라 이런 결과가 나왔죠.
and we were in a really
네,
great
초비
position
선수
to win the team fight.
끝까지
So
따라가서
I mean, it
잡아내는
was a
모습이
predictable
있었고요.
result.
자, 네, 경기 영상이 상당히 길게 이어지고
So
있습니다.
that's a bit of a long replay.
초비 선수는 저때 이제
초비.
뒤로 더 올라가서 경기 끝내야겠다 이렇게 마음 먹고
Were you trying to just break the nexus over there?
일단 우리 팀이 집을 끊을 수 있고
Our players could stop their base.
한번 끝내보겠다.
So then I thought if they can stop their recall, I knew that we were able to just take down the nexus.
그리고 또 귀환을 못하도록 옆에서 괴롭혀주고 있었어요, 타잔 선수가.
Tarzan was the one stopping their
네.
recall, right?
와, 정말 감탄만 나오는 장면이었습니다.
I cannot believe
오늘도
what I just
끝나고
watched.
정말 파이팅하는 모습, 행복해하는 모습
And you guys seemed really happy
보여주셨는데요.
after today's
감독님께서는
victory.
어떤 말씀
What did
있으셨나요?
CB Max told you guys after the game?
저는 오늘 잘한 걸 사실 못 느꼈는데
Today,
팀원들이
I
너무
didn't
잘해줘서
really think I was the one who was
컨디션
playing really well.
수상이라고 한 거에
I think all my teammates were
많이
doing so good.
의욕이 샘솟치네요, 오늘.
But
네,
CB Max
감독님께
also
칭찬을 들어서 더 기분 좋다고
gave me some compliments, so
말씀하셨고요.
it feels
초비
really
선수 오늘
nice.
전체적으로 오늘 플레이에 대해서
Chovy,
어떻게 생각하시나요?
how would you like to rate your performance today?
그냥 무난하게 한 것 같아요.
I mean, I did okay.
그러니까 제가 해야 할 걸
I just did what I was supposed to do. in the situation that I have to do some plays.
다제 역할 잘 해주셨습니다. 자, 이제 다음 경기가
And your next
젠지전입니다.
series is up against Genji. How are you going to prepare for that?
따로 준비할 건
Nothing
없고,
special?
하던 대로 할 것 같아요.
Just as we do
네,
normally.
초비 선수 인터뷰 언제나 즐겁습니다.
It's
자,
always
소수
happy to
선수는
have you here,
어떤
Chovy,
각오
on the interview
하고
stage.
계세요?
What about you, Sword?
한 마음이니까 똑같이 생각하고
Same.
있습니다.
I have the exact same
특별히
opinion with
준비할 건
Chovy.
없고 계속해서 하던 대로
I
잘
guess you guys are going to
준비하시겠다고
focus on your
해주셨습니다.
basic routine
자,
to
초비
prepare
선수,
for the
소수 선수
Genji
오늘 경기
series.
다시 한번 승리 축하드리고요.
So thank you
저희는
very much
또
for
다음에
this
뵙겠습니다.
interview,
인터뷰
and
감사합니다.
I'm going to pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
네,
Thank you very much,
준비선
Ji-sun.
연결할게요.
Fantastic to hear from both Sword and Chovy on the interview stage as the Urgot MVP has bothered my friend LS just a little bit. He's slightly perturbed, but I think he will be back for next week. He's got a few days to recover. He'll be back on Saturday, and then everything will be okay.
You know what's really making me so excited to come back is next week is 9.5 Silas.
Hey,
Who
that's
else is
true.
excited?
Do you know who comes back? Julian comes back.
Julian comes back.
Actually,
too.
I want to change his name to Glenn.
What?
Because if you've seen The Wedding Singer, it's Julia Gulia and Glenn Gulia. Never mind. It's completely okay. We'll leave that. As you can see, these are the standings. Griffin retain their spot in number 1 and now plus 10 for SANDBOX. Any victory for SKT in their next match will tie up their game amount line and also give SKT the point advantage. So second place is certainly on the cards for SKT. As we move further down the line, this is going to be your next week. Griffin versus Genji are going to open it up with the Telecom War to come in afterwards. That's going to be a big match for SKT result-wise, but shouldn't be a hard one in theory because we saw KT today and a FLICKR smash them. So it could be a rough run here for KT Rolster. We'll see what they can do. Kingzone then take on Jin Air Green Wings as they start their run towards the playoffs, which is comfortable apart from one match against Griffin. There are some big matches here this week. Hanwha versus SKT. Another one.
If the law of order is to be abided,
Uh-huh.
Griffin must lose next week versus either Afrika or Genji.
It'll be a FLICKR. It's got to be a FLICKR.
I think that's it.
FLICKR's
I think everyone knows where to place their money.
Yeah, they got a weird death note, man. They got a real weird death note that's like SANDBOX. We need to get them in the first round robin. Otherwise, we just want to lose. Lose every game. No trying allowed. And then the next round robin, it's Griffin. Their name is etched in there. Even Jin Air can beat them, but that's because they're saving all of their energy. That is going to do it for Week 7. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next week on Thursday for the Telecom War. Good night.
take me higher when I feel low. Make my world brighter when I'm alone. I keep on rolling, oh, with your fuel. You're like my gasoline that makes my dream come true. 'Cause this is the beginning. Together we'll be winning. With you I'm a star. Make my sorrows chilling. With you I'm feeling alive. Like a feather, fly like the wind. I fly again to where we have been. You taught me love and without all the pain. You're all I need. I'm feeling feather alive.
나이스. 나이스.